two pies, back of the Packers, Winderlich, quick handball to Hocking, back to Lovett Murray, he goes short, it's a mark, to Zaharakis, Zaharakis has kicked a goal, the Bombers are in front of the G.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The leaders in AFL Supercoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse, Skiddy, and Herbie.
Hello and welcome to the Insight AFL Show. I'm your host, the Supercoach Big Horse, and joining me is the man, Filthy IFS. Skiddy, how are you, brother?
Oh, I'm going well, horsey boy. We're here to try and enlighten some of the people that don't really know how to do AFL Supercoach as much. As we know, the World Cup's about to start, so right. We're here to hopefully be able to give a bit of a lending hand to some of the, I'm going to guess, most people that do NRL. As our boys are absolutely killing it over there, the Whisperer, Braino, and Matrix. So, welcome to all those guys.
Yeah, so as Skiddy just touched on, we are going to talk about the basics behind AFL Supercoach, how the scoring works, which players to look out for, player positions, and all that sort of jazz. So we'll try and bookmark it as we go, so you can skip through it when you are watching, but bear with us as we are still relatively new to this. So if you haven't yet, please hit like and subscribe. We do appreciate your support, but also jump in our Discord. Inside Unlimited is live and for less than 50 cents a week. And as those of you that will know me, it's upsizing a box with an extra burger on the side. That's all it costs you for a year of content from us, the Insight Supercoach guys. You'll get our insights, our trades, our captains' picks for each week, exclusive premium question and answer content every round of the Supercoach season, and a few other cool perks. Entry to our Discord will always be free if you wanted to get in the community and talk Supercoach and, in general, fantasy sport. Our $25, $50, and $100 cash leagues are now running, but limited spots are available. So if you are interested in taking part, please comment below or hit us up with a DM on Discord and we'll send you some of the details. So we're here to talk scoring. Aren't we, Skiddy?
Yeah, scoring. Yeah. And
footy. Yeah.
We are, mate. So, I mean, why don't we just crack straight into it? And, we'll let everyone know, this is how basically the scoring breakdown for AFL Supercoach does work. The main one, obviously, is kicking a goal, get it between the big six. If you get it to this 2-6 on the side, that's 1 point. And a goal assist basically is if you give it off to a player that then goes on to kick the goal. Like an assist in basketball, 3 points. Pretty basic, mostly forwards or forward-pushing midfielders.
That's right. Before we do continue on with our kicking a score points that we have here, we're going to mention our Insight Unlimited League, which is 913351. This is a great opportunity for beginners in Supercoach to jump into a league that doesn't cost you anything and view how more experienced players may go at it throughout the season, as you're able to click on each team, each owner's side, and see exactly what players they've got, their captain's picks each round. So it's not just us, it'll be everyone in the league. And with almost 300 players in the league already, I anticipate this league will go north of 500-600 before the season starts. So 913351, join the league. Cost you nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get the top score by chance, you get an $80 prize pack, thanks to the guys at the Standard
Squeeze. Our boys, our day ones, our day dots, absolute legends.
Absolutely. But as Skiddy was saying, kicking a score. So probably one of the more exciting parts of our game is kicking a goal, as Skiddy was saying. So 8 points if you kick a goal. Skiddy, how many goals did Sev Larkey kick at the back end of last year, mate, that last game?
Last game against the Suns. Did he kick? I think he kicked 7 or so. I know he kicked 71 for the year, which is if someone can do 71 times 8, that'd be great.
56. There you go.
560? Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, that'll do.
56, yeah. So just from kicking a goal alone, that's no marks, that's nothing else.
Yep.
That's 56 points of him putting his foot on the ball and putting it through the goals. Pretty easy game sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, mate, if you kick as good as Suvlaki does, I mean, shit, it'd be nice. Or if you had the ability to be Jesse Hogan versus Essendon every single week and boot 11 or whatever he kicks.
As a hashtag flagged on supporter, I hate that. But so kicking a point, you still get rewarded for a shit kick that doesn't make it through the big stick. So you still get 1 point and a goal assist. We love a goal assist. And Brian Myers from the Geelong Footy Club is perhaps the best in the AFL at it, with an effective kick inside 50 and a goal assist that amounts to about 10 Supercoach points each time he does that. He averaged, was it 4 assists a game last year? So 40 points per game just from an efficient kick inside 50, hitting up a target and getting a goal assist. Mm-hmm. So contested footy is a big one with AFL Supercoach. So you've got your inside players and your outside players. Your inside players are your ones that generally likes to get their hands dirty, the ones who are probably more powerfully built, your Ollie Wines, your Jack Steele,
Tom Liberatore.
Tom Liberatore, fantastic example.
The main one. Josh Dunkley as well. These kind of guys.
Yep. Your bigger frame players who can get in there, get the ball at ground level. So even a contested possession that hits the target off ground level is 4.5 points.
Yep.
Don't ask me why it's 4.5 points, but it is rounded up at the end of the game. So 4.5 may as well equivalent to 5.
Do you reckon that's because the gather is 0.5 or whatever it is? And maybe they do it as the gather and then they do it as the ground possession, which equals 5?
Potentially.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Potentially. So you've got your intercepts possessions as well. So if you take a intercept mark as a contested mark, that's 8 points.
Yep.
So that's your James Sicily, your Harris Andrews, your Sam Taylor, these sorts of players.
Tommy Stewart.
He's big for it. The players that you don't want a lot of them in your side because then you become too reliant on other teams bombing the ball inside 50. But if you've got a couple in your side, it works. And like the players that we've just brought up, these are teams that like to play their premier player off their particular opponent and get their teammates to cover for them for the greater good of the team. So hence why you see Tommy Stewart so highly priced. He just runs around at will. Harris Andrews is another one. Sam Taylor. Who did you just bring up? Sorry.
I said Tommy Stewart, but it also got me thinking of Jakey Lever, of how well he does with Melbourne as well. He's not the great, not the best for Supercoach, because that is one of the things about these intercept markers, that they may be very good intercept markers, but the ability for them to actually make massive Supercoach score is quite hard. That's why Tom Stewart is such a prized possession, because he uses
the ball well too.
Yes.
Yeah. And your James Sicily is the same. Nice long kick. They take kick outs. Melbourne have designated kicker outerers, so to speak, in Christian Salem. It used to be Brayshaw, but he's gone. God bless him, and all the best in retirement to you, young man. But yeah, these Stewart and Sicily are probably your big two that both look to intercept mark, but also take kick outs. If you hit a target outside 50 from a kick out, that's also 8 points.
Yep.
So there's lots of points to be made as a intercept or as a kicking out from fullback type of operation. Yeah, uncontested footy. So these are your players: Bradley Hill, Andrew Gaff, these sorts of players that love to be on the outside. Nicky Dacos. Fantastic for this. So an uncontested mark. So these are your guys that are chipping it around the back line when, say, your St Kilda, they love to flood back.
Oh, yeah.
So they could just kick it to each other back and forward. It's 2 points every time you mark it. And was it 3 points for an effective short kick? So you could effectively just get 5 points each time doing that. So it's easy points, but it's a slow burn compared to your long kicking and that sort of jazz. So you mark on a lead. These are your full forwards: your Tommy Hawkins, your Sev Larkey, your Jesse Hogan. These sorts of operators. Taylor Walker's good for it as well.
Yep.
Your handball receive. These are your outside players, the ones that get the ball from the inside players, so the ones that like to run, and you gather up off the ground. So we can see a gather up off the ground there and a contested possession at ground level that hits the target. If you do that right, that's 6 points straight off the bat.
Bingo.
And we'll get into Thompson Dow last night, who did that very well. Free kick, Skiddy. Do you want to dig into that for us, brother?
Oh, mate. So free kick 4, which basically means when you receive the free kick, you get 4 points. When it's a free kick against, minus 4 points. So free kick 4, pretty much anyone for Collingwood is going to give you good free kick 4. All the Bulldogs as well, actually, because I'm pretty sure Bulldogs had the most free kicks 4. Free kick against, and that's minus 4, 50-meter penalty against. So when you give away 50 or a free kick, you lose points. This is one of the main things that James Sicily does very, very badly. He normally would score very well, but he gives away a shitload of frees and he gives away a shitload of 50-meter penalties. Same as DeGoey. He's another one that score would be a lot better if he didn't give away such stupid free kicks and 50s. But, another reason why, your Dacosses and your Sheasels and stuff like that are good because they rarely give away free kicks, always keep the level head. So, this is people that are a bit of hotheads that you just got to be a bit cautious of.
Yep. So if they give away, say, a free kick and then a 50-meter penalty afterwards, it's almost 13 points they're losing in any one go. James Sicily for 1.
Yep.
Hence why it can be so good
where
sometimes
he did
and so bad.
Correct, yeah. Jaden Stevenson, where he gave away the 150-meter penalty last year, and he was at minus 8 at one point in the game.
Yep. So you give away 3 50-meter penalties in a row. That's nearly 26 points that you're losing. Terrible.
Yeah,
so be wary of the hot-headed players. Hitting targets, mate. So an effective kick is 4 points. So that's just hitting up a target nicely. An effective handball is 1.5 points. So that's basically handballing to anyone else and a clean gather from or a clean grab from your teammate. An ineffective disposal, which we'll get into later as well. There was some fantastic examples of that last night. So an ineffective disposal, if you kick it and it goes sideways and goes out of bounds, you get 0. You do not get a point for that. And a clanger disposal means, say, if you're running across half back and you're trying to hit up a target 35 meters down the ground and you turn it over, it goes straight to the opposition, it's minus 4 points. So you do what's that? Sorry.
Yeah. Unless the kick goes 50 meters, then that's counted as an effective disposal. Correct. Yep.
I don't think it's effective.
Oh, is it just counted as ineffective?
It's just it's counted as an ineffective disposal.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it nullifies the clanger instead of actually giving you any points. Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Clanger obviously just means basically that's when you're kicking to players that get intercept marks or intercept possessions or something like that. You're the player that is doing that.
Yep.
And then we got the old 1%ers.
Yeah, these are for the blokes that aren't really flash at kicking or bloody handballing. These are the guys that love to throw their body around. Who would you say is good at a tackle?
Libba.
Dunkley. Spoiling.
Libba.
Shepherding. Yep.
Sydney Stack used to be really good at it when he was in there, but now he's gone.
Josh Dunkley, very good.
Yeah, I could see this is where Harley Reid will make his bread and butter. Tackles, really getting hard nut into it. But yeah, it takes a special type of player to be that good to be able to use the ball, but also be that good of a tackler. Dunkley. Taranto was Newcomb for Hawthorn. He's bloody good at it. These type of players, they're few and far between, but
Yep. So basically you're looking for someone, whoever lands an effective tackle. So if it gets shrugged, it's 0. But if you stick the tackle, 4 points. A spoil from behind. We saw Gibcus do it a couple of times last night, and we'll touch on last night's game soon. But 2 points. A shepherd is 1.5 points, which basically, say if you've got a teammate running along and then you see one of his teammates run in and get himself between the carrier and an opposition player and bump him away so he can't catch up to the ball carrier, That's considered a shepherd.
Yep.
A shepherd doesn't have to be ironing someone out from 30 meters back.
But it can be.
So it can be, but I think it's frowned upon these days.
Depends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Finally, we're going to talk about ruck contest. This is where
Yes.
the big men make their bread. So hit outs to advantage is very good because you see your dominant ruckman, your Sean Darcy, your Maxi Gorn, your Brody Grundy, probably
Timmy
to a
English.
lesser extent. Timmy, well, not to a lesser extent. Timmy English is very good
definitely
at it.
Timmy.
Rowan Marshall to a lesser extent because he gets a bit of the ball around the ground. But this is how your ruckmen, who only get 13 touches a game, end up scoring over 100. Some ruckmen can get between 40 and 50 hit-outs a game. If half of them go to advantage, so if 20 of them go to advantage and your teammate gets clean possession, that's 100 points.
Yep.
This is how ruckmen score their points. So you brought up a good analogy before about how rugby people should see how ruckmen work in the AFL. Do you want to go ahead with that, mate?
So basically, ruck, you can kind of categorize it in the same way as the NRL people in their Supercoach have to have their halfback. Like, they need a good halfback in Cleary or Nico Hines, for examples. That's why everyone in the AFL Supercoach community, you'll see either 3 ruckmen on their squad, and it will be Gorn and Grundy. It'll be English, Gorn, or English and Grundy. But most people will go Gorn and Grundy. English is basically the cream of the crop. We'll get the most points, but Gorn and Grundy have pretty much been doing this for the last 10 years where they've been 1 and 2, and now they're at an easier price. So that's why you want to try and get yourself a really, really good ruckman, and also because there isn't very many ruckmen. There's pretty much one per team, exactly the same as like the NRL halfback. Like there's not 2 Nathan Clearys running around. There's not 2 Tim Englishes running around.
That's right. So your hit outs that don't go to advantage, just a hit out that goes to no one is 0 points. You get absolutely nothing. And a hit out that's sharked by the opposition, which means a hit out from, say, my team that might go to Skiddy's team here, you actually lose 1 point. So it does benefit the ruckmen who are very good at their ruck craft.
Yes.
Anything else you want to touch on those points before we continue on, mate?
No, I think we covered majority of the actual how the scoring works, and hopefully everyone kind of understood what the fuck we were talking about. I mean, it's hard when we're just trying to tell it. If someone's never watched the game, then you kind of be like, well, what does that give me anything good? But that's why we go into this next part, and we try and explain it a little bit more on how the actual team can formulate.
That's right. So this part of the episode is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze.
Squeezy.
Yeah, helping you drink responsibly and conveniently. You can go to the website, thestandardsqueeze.com, and use the code INSIGHT15 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. Help support those that support us. They've been with us since day one, haven't they, Skiddy?
Day ones. Absolute legends. They always take care of us, take care of all of our subscribers and all of our mates. So they're great people.
Absolutely. And something else I want to point out before we do kick off this part of the episode, Skiddy. You see at the top there, 15 days to a footy.
Oh, 15 days. Oh, I'm so goddamn excited.
Wait,
it's not 15 days. Isn't round 0? It's 15 days until lockout. So round 0.
It sounds round 1 up the top. So what have we got? 7 days.
Yeah, it's next Thursday. Yeah.
Hey,
excited.
Yes, sir. All right, so positional importance. So your lockdown defenders versus your ball users. Do you want to bring up what you think is the benefit of a ball user versus a lockdown defender, mate?
Yeah, so ball users, I believe, would normally get more Supercoach points. I guess we just kind of see that as of, Nick Dacos and Harry Sheasel and these kind of players that will then run off and get, because they're such good kicks that they keep the ball movement for their teams. When it goes to a lockdown defender, you're kind of just trying to beat your player, and unless you're generating a lot of intercept marks or spoils, but it's only when it comes to that one-on-one kind of defender. So they generally normally average a lot less. Like Sam Collins here, for instance, and a great defender for the Gold Coast Suns.
Averages,
but he is a
73.
73, and he is a lockdown defender. When you can look at Harry Sheasel, who is not a lockdown defender and more of a ball user kind of defender, and Sheasel was averaging 100 and something or other,
100,
100 pretty much on the dot. So they're the difference between it. There's obviously players that do it a lot better than some others, just because their kicking probably isn't up to scratch. So yeah, I normally lean the defender that will, be able to run and be able to get the kicks and who they're using it at fullback. And also to any player that takes the kick-ins and they run out of the square, that's cheap Supercoach points, and we love that.
Yep. So don't get stuck. Don't get stuck picking players from a team you support either. So for like a Richmond supporter, you can see on the screen here Dylan Grimes, who's been a servant of the game for probably 10 years now. He's been a part of Richmond premiership sides, but is priced at $273K for a reason, because you go into his averages once they load, and he averages 48 Supercoach points per game. So you've really got to play the percentages. You got Joel Hambling there, who's very much the same. Zane Cordy, like these guys aren't guys that are trusted to use the ball versus your Luke Ryans. We've spoken about Tom Stewart and James Sicily before. Your Nick Dacos's. These are the guys. Yes, they are in the primo territory, but when you're looking for someone a bit cheaper during this preseason, both Skiddy and I encourage you to watch some AFL content and go, well, if they're playing backline, I want to be able to pick someone who's using the ball through the backline, who's running and hitting up targets and creating opportunities for them to make points. So I want to bring up one here who I think might be a bit of a pod now that our man Angus Brayshaw has retired. It's Trent Rivers. So you look at this, and it's only a average of 84 here, but I'm struggling to think of anyone outside of perhaps Christian Salem and Jake Bowie who's going to be using the ball coming out of Melbourne's backline now. So we've got, by the time this releases, the game will have finished, so we'll know exactly how Melbourne are going to structure up. But we can see here that against Hawthorn in the past, he scored a couple of times over 100. He scored almost 100 against Port Adelaide. He scored 85. So these are 2023 stats that we have here. This is potential to be a really nice pod if Trent Rivers plays down back. So that's one of those players that we encourage you to look out for, ball users coming out of the back line.
Yep. Absolutely spot on.
Big forwards versus small forwards, Skiddy. Do you want to explain that, mate?
Mate, forwards, this year especially, this is the worst Supercoach generation that you're going to get, like for positioning on the field, right? This is where the least amount of averages are coming from, the least amount of people that are actually probably Supercoach relevant.
That's right.
For it as well. So tall forwards, we're obviously expecting them and wanting them to kick goals, take contested marks, this kind of stuff. When they don't do it, then obviously it's going to go down in the shitter. Joe Danaher, for example, 82.7. The thing about the forwards is they can get massive scores. Say if Danaher kicks 6 goals, then he's going to obviously have a massive, massive score. But then you can also see here he's had 27, 53s, 51s.
48.
They're games where he just probably didn't kick any goals. So it is banking on someone kicking a lot of goals. That's probably why, Charlie Curnow, even though he's not great at Supercoach, but he obviously was a goal-kicking leader. So that's why he's priced more, because he kicks a shitload of goals. But there is games you'll see against West Coast last year. What do you have, 186?
186, but here against Melbourne, he had 47.
Yep. So West Coast
63 against St Kilda.
Yep, and 178 against West Coast, and he kicked 10 goals in both those games, and that's what it got him for. So it can pile up, but again, the consistency is just off when it comes to these forwards. So I'm out on a lot of them this year. I'll tell you that, Mick.
We can see here, say with Sam Flanders, who's someone that I've got in my side at the moment. It doesn't read great just here looking at an 88 average, but pardon me, given his new role that he got to start the year, we can see that as a pure forward last year as to why he is mid-forward eligible now, which I guess has saved us a little bit for some of us that want to pick him. 64, 46, 26, 41, just playing purely as a midfielder. But once he gained that midfield role last year, he went on to score 100, 119, 96, 125, 113, 91, 81, 130, 121. So you can see that when he was bottoming out, he was bottoming out at, 81, 85, but still able to score his regular 100. So this is why I guess a small forward or someone who has the ability to run through the middle and be a ball user higher up the ground is much more beneficial than your big forward and them having to rely on kicking goals. Would you say that'd be right, Skiddy?
Yep, I reckon you're absolutely spot on. Another thing I just wanted to quickly point out as well, to say someone that's coming over from NRL Supercoach, our pass mark basically is 100. Like, you're pretty happy if your bloke scores 100 in a game. I mean, 90, you're okay with it. 80, we're getting a little bit low. But I know that in a lot of NRL, they'll have a couple of guys that will go massive, but then a lot of other guys that will play like shit. We probably get a few more hundreds from different players over the game. So, and we can get them from pretty much any position on the ground as well. So if your guy gets you 100, that's pretty much, you're pretty happy with that. Anything over that's a bonus.
Absolutely. So let's talk about good users of the ball versus a player who accumulates the ball and does nothing with it. And there's probably none. I'm just going to stop the share screen for a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there's probably none more relevant than something that we've seen as recently as last night. So we've got the Richmond and Collingwood game that was played last night. So Thompson Dow, who's a 250K odd midfield option, who I'm seriously considering bringing in right now. So he had 20 touches, only 4 kicks, 16 handballs, only 1 mark, 1 tackle, and 1 goal. Because he was efficient with the way he used the ball, he scored 96 points.
Yep.
So remember that? 20 touches, 1 mark, 1 tackle. Yep. Jacob Hopper, for example, had 23 touches, 1 tackle, 7 kicks, 16 handballs, 2 frees against. But for his 23 touches, he got 27 Supercoach points. So in AFL fantasy, that's a lot different, and he will score a lot better in AFL fantasy. But because he's a Supercoach, and as we were saying before, that a clanger disposal is -4 points, or a free kick against is -4 points. So he gave away 2 free kicks, so that's -4 points already. Every time he turned the ball over, which if you were watching the game last night, he was quite rushed with his disposal. He turned the ball over a lot. So he's losing 4 points every time he kicks it straight to the opposition. This is the difference between someone who may not get as much of the ball but is clean with the ball versus someone who just takes the piss and gets the ball for fun but doesn't know how to use it properly. So it's important to pick your player and pick someone who's good with their possession and has a high disposal efficiency. Is there anything you want to add to that, mate?
No, mate. I mean, shit, the Tigs have given us like absolute gold for Supercoach in this kind of way of showing it, because, they gave us Hopper and Dow, that gave us the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So, no, I think you've explained that great. And it's hard to notice who is going to be like those good ball users and who is good by that, because it's a lot of eye test. That's why we encourage you guys to come into our AFL Discord, and me and Mick are always around. And we're happy to, if you say to us, hey, I'm there to pick between Dunkley and Liberatore. I mean, that's a bad one because they're both great.
Could go either way,
yeah. But even in that way, we can also try and dissect it and say that we may lean Libba early in the year because Dunkley's got the early bye, and then you go to Dunkley after the bye. But we're always around as much as we can be to try and help you guys through. So if you need any extra questions, we're more than happy to do that.
And as we saw last night, we had a thread going where there was almost 300 comments in there talking footy.
Yeah.
There's not just Skiddy and I. There's lots of people who know their football that are in there and sharing their knowledge. If you want to know more about starting player prices and how to go about that, join our Discord, DM Skiddy or myself, or jump in the AFL section and talk to us there. We'll go through it there with you. Trades and boosts. So I want to talk about this because there's rounds with multiple buys, but if you nail your picks early and not having to use trades too early, I believe it's round 4. If you can hold off till round 4, you can trade twice every round for the rest of the year.
Yep. I mean, that would be an absolute luxury to have as well.
Luxury.
40 trades this year. So, shit. I mean, it is going to be hard to nail it, but I think there is a good way to be able to do it if you also do just kind of structure it right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then you can easily just set yourself up for gold after that.
Yep. So I highly encourage people to, rely on the likes of Skiddy and myself, jump in the Discord to get your teams right from the start. We understand that there's the Supercoach World Cup and everyone wants to win it. We're non-biased. We want the best for everyone, and we want everyone in our Discord to do well and everyone in the Insight community to do well. But we don't want you burning your boosts early because that'll stuff you come the year's end, especially player injuries, buys, form. It'll all work against you. When our rookies are there for the ripening to trade a couple in to pick up a premium, you want to be able to go, yep, I'll trade 2 in, get a premium back, but also be able to go, yep, all right, this bloke's in form and this bloke shit the bed for the last 4 weeks. Let's dump him before we lose too much cash. So,
yep. And also, the last thing you want to do is pick up a rookie that isn't just playing, that's not playing.
That's right.
It might give all the indications that he might be a good football player, but the coach might be like, well, he doesn't fit our team, so he's not playing. Finn McRae, for example, who I believe is either going to be the sub or not play for Collingwood. And a lot of people are picking him, but where does he fit into the side? And if you don't know that, then you're going to pick him and he may either be the sub and get you a 20 or not play at all. And he's just sitting there doing stuff all for the whole year.
Great segue into what I wanted to discuss next, and that is the potential for the player to be in the vest to start or to finish the game. The reason why I bring this up is because it's going to be limited scoring. In NRL, you don't really have this. People just get subbed off and subbed on or whatever else. But when you get the vest in AFL, that means you're not coming back on. You're done for the day. There's no way you can return to the ground. But also, if you start with the vest, you might not even make it on the ground. That's correct. It's important from our point of view to nail these teams right from the start. So then we've got players who are playing, who are accumulating points, that are building bank. We're going to talk about break-evens later, but we want to create as much cash as we can so then you can upgrade to premiums quicker. Is that right?
Bingo. Absolutely spot on. And the last thing we want to be doing is taking a player that's going to be a sub-risk. Like, for example, Tom Mitchell last year for Collingwood went through probably about a 6 or 7 game stretch where he was the sub every single game. And he would get subbed out halfway through the second quarter or right at the end or right at the start of the third quarter. And he was done for the rest of the game. And he'd be sitting there on 50 and you'd be like, why is he doing it? Well, it was just management. So those players we've got to keep an eye out for too.
That's right. And as we just said, the Supercoach World Cup is with us. So NRL, AFL, NBL, and BBL, if you think you have what it takes to show the Insight community and the broader community that you are the best at Supercoach with all these 4 sports combined, you will win a nice little prize and a trophy thanks to the guys at Insight Fantasy Sports.
100%.
So this next little segment that we've got, we're going to talk about VC loopholing, but this is going to be brought to us by Ryan from Astute Newstead, who perhaps has the best mustache in the game. Are you wanting to buy that first home or even invest property and you don't know how? Are you a current owner with interest rates above 6.2%? We here at the Insight Fantasy Sports team can guarantee that there are better options for you. The best part is that Ryan will do it all for free. You can reach out at ryanh@eganwealth.com on Facebook or on Instagram at HammondSHL_astute or personally on his mobile 0431 766 784. So, VC loopholing, Skiddy. Would you like to go through that, mate?
Basically, it's just, when obviously there's games on most Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday, Sunday. If you've got a player that is playing on a Thursday night or a Friday night, one of the earlier games, you will slap the VC on them. Yes, VC on them. And then what you'll do is if they score a really, really good score, obviously your captain will be on someone that's playing later in the round.
That's right.
And let's say you have Bontempelli playing a Friday night game, and Bont goes for 179, and you're like, okay, that's going to double. I'm happy with that. I'll take that score. But your captain's still sitting there. What you'll then do is you'll then put the captaincy on to, let's say we call them a loop option, and they are a player that will not play at all. So you bring them on the field. They are then your captain. And then you make someone else that was going to be on your field the emergency. You get the emergency score. The bloke that doesn't play is the captain. His score doesn't count. So then your vice captain will be Bontempelli, who will then, instead of getting you 179, will get you 358. So that's how that pretty much works. It can get a little bit confusing at times, or being like, when's this guy playing? Who's he playing? But
it's the same as the NRL. So the looping with the NRL with the AFL is the same. So we want to be able to pick a player who's playing later in the round. And we've nominated Livingston from West Coast to start the year. He's 102K ruck forward who we don't think is going to play. He's very light on. He did play in the practice match, but like last year, Bailey Williams will carry the ruck at West Coast and have the likes of Oscar Allen and these guys chop out in the ruck. He's not ready for AFL footy yet. So just scrolling through the app earlier, West Coast have the most Sunday games to start with. Fremantle have the most games at the back end of the year. So if you're looking to trade your player here, your loop player for another one, go nuts, but it'll have to be a Freo player at the back end of the year, which, you know, it is or it's not there. You can probably save a trade there, but definitely West Coast to start the year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worrying about trying to burn a trade on your loop option. It's
more of a luxury if you've got the trade.
Yeah, 100%. If you don't want to go Livingston as well and you want to bring in a ruck 3, you can always go with is it Rowlands as well from West Coast? Yeah, Rollinson from West Coast as well. He's a mid forward, so you can get dual position on him as well, and he's 102K. He's also a good option.
Yep. So we've seen some people in the community, over 20% actually at the moment, of picking Finbar Maley as their loop option. Not a good option for 2 reasons. One, Tristan Xuri gets hurt. He might play. Like, he's not ready, but he might play. Yeah. But the second thing is he plays a lot of Saturday games.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really allow you a chance to be able to utilize your VC option as your loop. So you're basically pigeonholed into having to pick someone on the Friday night if you want to try and loop. So it's just not cricket, is it, mate?
No, mate, that's pretty simple stuff right there. It's got to be one of the West Coast boys, or you could even go a Freo if you want to, but I think Rowlinson or Livingston are probably the guys.
Yep. So the importance, mate, on picking the right rookies or rookie price players. So we wanted to bring this up because it's all well and good to pick a rookie, 102K rookie to try and bring in extra players. But if you're bringing in a 102K rookie, you want that rookie to be playing. So it's generating you points, especially if you've got a loop player. So then you can trade that into a premium player, hopefully down the track. But you also don't want a rookie player who potentially is playing but is subject to the vest.
Yes.
So it's tricky, but we think that we've picked a few already, like Sanders and McKercher, sorry. These sorts of players who are they're not going to get the vest. Sorry for mispronouncing the King's name. So these are the types of players rookie players who aren't going to get the vest. So even Zach Williams, to a point, like, he may come back. He got through the VFL, but he might come back and only play a half to start the season as they manage him through. So he may be one that gets the vest early on. So it's very much a watch this space in this sort of area. Can you think of anyone that would be subject? Finley McRae or Finn McRae.
Yep. Finn McRae,
He's picked a lot in the forward line because he is that, and they're talking about him playing. But from what we saw last night, he's probably the top candidate to get the vest to start the year off, isn't he?
He can play everywhere as well. And I think he is probably I reckon he is the perfect sub for Collingwood. So I can really say it. He can do damage, and he's a good player, but if he's not getting full game time, then I'm not settling for 40s and 50s. You know, we want to be looking at.
Absolutely not.
But like, if you give me the choice between McRae or Darcy Wilson from St Kilda, I'll take Wilson every single day of the week because I think Darcy Wilson will genuinely take that wing, and we won't have to worry about subs or anything like that. It's but it's a real possibility for Finn. Yeah,
I think you're right, and we've seen the way Rossi Lyon goes about his rookies. If he likes them, he's hard to crack them. But if he likes them and plays them, we saw with Mateus Filippo last year, he played almost every game, and I don't think he was subbed that often either.
No, Machado Owens never got the sub either. Filippo didn't cop it either. No, it was. He's very, very confident in the people that he plays.
Absolutely. Let's talk about break evens.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on that, mate, while I bring up the share screen again?
Yeah, for sure, mate. So basically a break even, you'll notice it as well when you go into one of the player profiles and it'll say break even and then a number. And basically that's saying what they need to score to be able to either improve for cash or go down for cash. So, for instance, here, if Mick picks a player like Marcus Bontempelli, right? Bont's obviously sitting at 724K. We have his break even at 130 with 45% to be able to hit that, they believe, because his projected score is 126. So basically, Bont will have a 3-game playing sample, and if his average over those 3 games is above 130, his price will rise. If it's under 130, it will then decrease. If it's exactly on 130, he'll stay the exact same. So it's 3 games. So round 0 does count towards the break evens, not the actual score. But basically, after that 3rd round,
that's when prices go up.
That's when the prices start to go up. So Jeremy Sharp. Yeah. Jeremy Sharp is a good one. Tell us about Sharpie.
Yeah. So Sharpie's going to be playing on the wing for the Fremantle Footy Club this year. They love what he's doing. He did miss the practice match against West Coast due to illness. He's doubtful for this week's as well because of illness, but they really do like him. But at 123K, his break even, he only needs to get 22 to make cash.
Yep.
So I know it sounds only 22, but you want your rookies playing and you want them to be able to smash 22. You want them to be able to get 70 or 80. So then their break even goes to like negative 90. Yeah. And this is when you get your rookies that are making 100K in a round and that sort of thing comes about. So we can see here that he's been able to score 96 in the past, 76. If he gets anywhere near 96 on a semi-consistent basis, Jeremy Sharp could make you 250 to 300K before the buys in the middle of the year. So for me, Jeremy Sharp is a really nice pick.
Yep.
You've got to be careful though with your sub vest. So as Skiddy said before, if Finn McRae, I'll get back into the so Finn McRae goes
150
forwards, don't I?
No, he's 150 odd.
Okay. So if we go to Finn McRae, who's all the way down, I'll get to him shortly. And
we'll get there.
So his break even is 27, which is all well and good. But if he's the vest and he comes on like he did last night and plays a quarter, gets 10 touches, and what did he score last night?
I think he scored 50 something, didn't he?
No, he didn't. He scored 29.
29.
No, he didn't. 29 he did. Yep.
Yeah, and that was in a quarter and a half.
Yeah. So we can see here that his break even is 27. With his game that he played last night, he would make you a couple of $1,000. Like he wouldn't make you much at all. So this is why Skiddy and I are stressing the importance of being aware of who's going to be in the vest each week and just picking the right rookies to be able to make your coins. So anything else you want to add on that, mate?
I was going to say, you may say, how the hell am I going to know who's in the vest and who's not in the vest? If you look at the AFL team sheets, there is like a portion where it says interchange and it will be one of those. That's why you come into the Discord. You ask me and Mick, who do we think is going to be the vest? There is somewhat of a method to a madness, but me and Mick do have connections in a lot of places. We have our hands in a lot of cookie jars. We can maybe figure out who it's going to be. So that's why you come into the Discord and we try and figure that out for you. But it can be a very, very tricky situation, but hopefully we can navigate it.
Absolutely. If you, the viewers at home, whether it be on Spotify, any good audio platforms, or on YouTube, have any further questions, please comment below or jump in our Discord where we are not 24/7 because us boys, we don't get this beautiful face by not sleeping. So you'll just have to be patient with us in the early morning hours of each day. But please be sure to like and subscribe. Double bang that shit. Put the bell on so you know when we're going live. Skiddy and I are always available for a chat when it comes to footy.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, though, be sure to join our live every Thursday night or as much as we can, work permitting for both of us. Throughout the season, we're going to tell you who's in, who's out, who's hot, who's cold, and who to target each week throughout the year. So we'll have our finger on the pulse. We'll know, or we'll hope we'll know who's in form, who's not, who's up for positional upgrades, DPPs. So your dual position players will come out. The first batch will come out in round 6. So your likes of Nick Martin, who's probably going to be the number 1, who's going to gain that mid defender if he continues as a backman. These are the sorts of players that you're going to want in your side because he has real potential to be a top 8 mid by season's end.
100%.
Is there anything else you'd like to pass on to the viewers before we finish up for the evening, Skiddy?
No, we just appreciate you all and everyone that's coming out and joining the Discord and liking and subscribing. For us as well, for the NRL boys, for the NBA, for the BBL, for the NBL. Like you're all legends. We love all your questions. We're always there to try and do it as good as we can. And Mickle, we got a game on tonight, mate. So we better go.
This will
stuck into a couple of proffies.
This will be dropping on Thursday, the 29th. You don't get that every year, do you?
Oh, leap year.
There you go. So this will be dropping at about 4 o'clock on Thursday, the 29th. So there'll be the game tonight, Melbourne versus, who are Melbourne playing tonight? Carlton. So we'll be in the Discord for tomorrow night's game. We'll be in the Discord for tonight's game as well. But be sure to jump in, give the AFL a like, chat to us. We'll be there every game this week and moving forward into the season. But for now, I'm the horse. This is the Skiddy. And this has been another episode of the Insight AFL podcast. See ya.